Thank you, Sheriff Mims. Thank you. A lot of you in the audience asked me to meet with Sheriff Mims. Well, we are together, and we're going to kick some butt. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Arizona. I'm not him. Sheriff Joe is a good friend of mine. He sends his greetings. And I have to tell you, Sheriff Joe is a real good friend of mine, so I promised him that I wouldn't sue him. And he goes, "What? You won't sue me?" And I said, "No, you wrote a book called The Toughest Sheriff in America." And I said, "Joe, it's no disgrace being number 2. And he said, "Well, how do you figure that I'm number 2 and that you're number 1? And I said, "Joe, it's easy. You fought the prostitutes, the gangbangers, and the drug dealers. I fought the Clintons. And not only that, we beat them at the United States Supreme Court, and I live to tell about it." You know, being that the Tea Party is a celebration of freedom in our country, and especially freedom of taxation, and the horrible day that approaches us in just 5 days called the Tax Day, I want to quote somebody that I think we're all very familiar with, and I hope you already know this quote. But it says, "Our federal tax system is, in short, utterly impossible, utterly unjust, and completely counterproductive. It reeks with injustice and is fundamentally un-American. It has earned a rebellion, and it's time we rebelled." That quote comes from your former governor and former president, Ronald Reagan. And I think it's time we fulfilled his wish. It's time for that rebellion. The greatest rebellion we can have, and the way to keep this rebellion peaceful and effective, is to make sure the county sheriffs in this country know their responsibility and their duty to defend us from tyranny. And I want you to know that this book is out there at my table. I'm right at the entrance. I'll have it there for you. It's The County Sheriff, America's Last Hope. And on the very first page of the book, it quotes Thomas Jefferson, and it does it this way: "When all government shall be drawn to Washington as the center of all power, it will render powerless the checks provided and become as venal and oppressive as the government from which we separated." End quote. The question I have for every person in your state, for the governor who needs to stop being a girly man and stand up and be counted, and for your state legislature, and for your county commissioners and your boards of supervisors and your counties, your cities, and your sheriffs, when you raise your right arm and you swear an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, that's exactly what we expect you to do. If you keep your oath, we keep our freedom. Okay. Now, I have here in my hand a copy of the United States Supreme Court decision where Sheriff Prince from Montana and myself from Arizona beat the Clinton administration at the U.S. Supreme Court. I have it. I want to quote 2 things from this case. One, quote Justice Scalia. This is the Supreme Court talking. "But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions. It divides power among sovereigns and among branches of government precisely so that we may resist the temptation to concentrate power in one location as an expedient solution to the crisis of the day." End quote. Have you heard of any crises of the day lately? The war on terror, the war on poverty, the war on drugs, the war on, health care. Let's be very clear here. The President of the United States has no authority and no jurisdiction whatsoever to tell anyone in your government, especially your sheriff and governor, what to do. None. Now I want to give you another quote from the U.S. Supreme Court in this case, and you'll know and see why we absolutely have no obligation to go along with socialistic Obamacare. Let me quote the case, please. Quoting the United States Supreme Court, June 27, 1997. "We have held, however, that state legislatures are not subject to federal direction." Okay? Don't you wish your state legislature knew that? Let's tell them today. And this is the bottom line order from the court. The federal government may neither issue directives requiring states to address particular problems, nor command the state's officers or those of their political subdivisions, get this, to administer or enforce a federal regulatory program. Let me continue with the Supreme Court. Such commands are fundamentally incompatible with our system of dual sovereignty. The state of California is sovereign and therefore has the authority and the responsibility to protect you from Washington, D.C. criminals. All I can tell you is if we're going to continue to be a free country, then everyone in your state and everyone in this country, from the dog catcher all the way down to the president, must keep their oath of office to uphold and defend and obey and preserve the United States Constitution. When I was a rookie police officer back about 25 years ago, I made the huge mistake of reading the Constitution. I didn't think that anybody that really took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution could actually do that without reading the document they promised to uphold and defend. And then I went to a training seminar where I was actually converted to the Constitution, entitled Constitutional Studies for Law Enforcement Officers. The instructor was somebody I hope you've heard of, Dr. W. Cleon Skousen. And he taught me the Constitution. And during this seminar, he taught me what I'm going to end my speech with today. And I hope that you will consider this America's political prayer. And I dedicate it to each of you. And I dedicate it to the Founding Fathers. And I dedicate it to the memory of everyone in this country, veterans especially, who have fought and died for our constitutional form of government, for our constitutional republic. And I want you to know that this comes This comes directly from my heart to yours. And it goes like this. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And that's the eagle. Long may she be free. Thank you.